Hey, what is up, everyone? Discussion Verse here to talk about how Nosferatu 2024 is a horror masterpiece. It's a visually stunning reimagining that redefines the vampire genre. But you might be asking yourself, is it worth the hype? Well, let's find out as we dive deep into this haunting new vision of one of horror's most iconic monsters. As mentioned, I'm your host, Discussion Verse, and today we are talking all about Nosferatu. Of course, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and leave a comment down below. This is the road to 500 subscribers. Thank you once again. Now, from the opening shot to the final frame, this film oozes atmosphere. Robert Eggers, known for his meticulous attention to detail, brings a new depth to the Nosferatu legend. Eggers really knows how to create unique and haunting scenes, and especially in his decision to frame Orlok out of the scenes a lot and keep him in the background until more later on in the movie, but it was just done in a way that felt so refreshing, and even the design of Orlok himself was just so awesome. It felt gross looking at him and his decaying corpse and everything like that. I thought it was just wonderful. And not only that, the voice was so unique, and the sound design of the film itself, to where it makes you feel like you're in the room with Bill Skarsgård as Orlok, just truly unique. Speaking of Bill Skarsgård, his portrayal of Count Orlok is nothing short of terrifying. Forget the suave romantic vampires you know, this Orlok is a force of pure death. There's no charm, there's no humanity. It's just an unstoppable plague that shadows every scene. And I love that about him. I love that he is just this relentless, but also this cold and calculating force of evil, and just evil personified, basically death. His portrayal of Count Orlok really is a masterclass of acting, and I love the voice. The voice is really awesome, and it's a character of its own, and I think it needs to be highlighted for just how good it is and how present it is. Really makes you feel like you're sitting in the room and he could be next to you. Along with that, Lily Rose Depp as Ellen gives a performance filled with vulnerability and fear. She's not just a damsel, she's a woman fighting against a dark fate she unwittingly called upon. Her connection to Orlok is chilling, and Depp brings that psychic bond to life with haunting sincerity. Along with Lily Rose Depp, Nicholas Hoult really shines. His portrayal of Thomas Hutter is one of pure sincerity that slowly transforms into desperation. He starts as a man of reason and skepticism, but the slow realization that he's trapped in an unthinkable situation is really heartbreaking. Hoult's performance anchors the emotional core of the film, making us feel every ounce of his fear and helplessness. And once again, Orlok isn't just a vampire, he's death itself. Skarsgård's performance strips away any semblance of humanity. This Orlok is not about charm or seduction. He's a plague bearer, a force of nature. Every time he's on screen, you feel like death itself is closing in. Within the movie, this all starts to come together after it's pieced together by the character of Von Franz, who's an occult expert, and he's brilliantly played by Willem Dafoe. In the movie, he comes to the realization of the connection between Alan and Orlok. From here, the audience gains the true realization that the horror of this Nosferatu isn't just about the vampire, it's the inevitability of death. As the plague that runs through Weisborg, you realize that no one is safe and time is running out for Ellen as well as the rest of the town. Because of the connection and the pact that they made, Orlok's approach isn't just a nightmare, it's a death sentence for everyone. And Skarsgård as Nosferatu / Count Orlok really crushes it. I mean, from the look, from the voice, of course, like I mentioned earlier, he really does sell that cold, menacing, calculated villain, and he does bring it. I wish there was more of it. I wish there was more of him going into the attack mode, so to speak, but what we saw was really well done, and the subtlety used in framing Nosferatu was just the cherry on top. It really brought the full atmosphere and effectiveness to the movie itself, and especially when you're sitting there in the big theater. The rest of the cast are truly incredible as well. We have Aaron Taylor Johnson, we have Emma Corrin, we have the mentioned Willem Dafoe, we have Ralph Ineson, who's a longtime Eggers collaborator, and of course we have Simon McBurney rounding out the cast, and they all really do bring it. And of course, with the setting and the set designs and everything like that, the way that the cast brought their characters to life is really commendable and really does bring you into this movie full circle. Eggers is really a man of the craft. He really understands how to capture tension and build atmosphere. This is especially seen with certain points in the movie where it does make you feel like you really are watching something otherworldly, especially when Nicholas Hoult gets into the carriage early on in the film. At some point, he's walking towards us, the audience, to sit down in there, but it looks like as if he's floating after a few frames, and I think that was just so effective and well done and really sold that we are not understanding what we're dealing with in terms of Count Orlok and Nosferatu. All in all, this is a great addition in vampire films, and I like that Eggers tapped into the folklore accurate vampire, as there tends to be more literal walking corpses complete with rotten smell. I also love that Orlok was a more powerful and dangerous vampire because he wasn't turned the normal ways like getting bitten or turned by another vampire. Namely, he was a sorcerer in dark magic while alive, and that's what made him what he is now, and that does add to Count Orlok's all-powerfulness that is shown throughout the movie, especially with his ability to warp reality at certain points, and his presence just being ever looming, and of course, his ability to bring about the plague. Now, that really separates him from a typical vampire and brings him more into a demon of sorts, and I love that Eggers used that as his approach to Nosferatu. So the question does remain, does Nosferatu 2024 live up to the title of a horror masterpiece? For me, absolutely. Eggers has crafted something more than just a remake. He created a layered atmospheric horror film that channels the essence of the original while offering a fresh modern take that dabbles into the traditional folklore of vampires that we've come to know. The slow burning dread, the masterful performances, and the haunting visuals, this is gothic horror at its finest, while also defining itself as its own take on a classic in Nosferatu. For me, it's an 8 out of 10. While it's not a movie for everyone, its pacing is deliberate, and the horror itself is subtle. But if you're a fan of the atmospheric horror that lingers in your mind long after the credits roll, this is a film you don't want to miss. And of course, I have my personal gripes, such as me wanting more of Nosferatu going on the hunt, at least a little bit more action scenes where he is doing the killings himself. But I mean, I loved what we got, and I loved how it was used because it was done with a purpose and it was really effective in its payoff. But I'd love to know what you think. Did you think Nosferatu 2024 is a masterpiece, or did it miss the mark? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and if you enjoyed this review, be sure to smash that like button, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more videos as I continue this road to 500 subscribers. Till next time, I'll catch you guys later. Peace.